Sound quality has always mattered to Manfred C. Eicher, the meticulous and exploratory producer who founded ECM, Edition of Contemporary Music, Records in 1969 and has produced the vast majority of its recordings. ECM has released an extraordinary catalog that encompasses jazz, classical music, and cross-cultural fusions from composers and performers like Keith Jarrett, Vijay Iyer, Arvo Pärt and Meredith Monk. Across styles, the label's hallmark has been the contemplative detail of its music, a kind of acoustic enhanced realism. ECM was long a holdout against streaming services that have to contend with bandwidth limits and non-optimal sound cards in computers and phones, as well as deals that minimize the value of music. But as of November 17, everything on ECM will be available through the major streaming services, awaiting discovery by new listeners. Here the New York Times music critics and contributors choose 20 ECM albums to begin the exploration. Use your best playback system. John Pareles. You could call this the quintessential ECM album for its title and its sound. The music on M.R. Eicher's records always seems to be closely swathed in a layer of quiet. On this classic album, the vibraphonist Gary Burton and the pianist Chick Corea make a natural pair. Both are punctilious and stark, and willing to leave lots of open air around the notes they play. Giovanni Russonello. What a group! The bassist David Holland convened for an album named after a Persian Sufi classic. Sam Rivers and Anthony Braxton on flutes and reed instruments were structural innovators and free thinkers, deciding how wide-open improvisation could conjure stories. M.R. Holland and the drummer Barry Altschul knew how to steer them or set them loose, with no chordal instrument to hold them in. Thoughtfully and playfully, the diverse voices sing. J.P. The tempos stay slow, the voicings sparse and the tension almost unbearable on Open to Love. All solo albums have to reckon with solitude, and the pianist Paul Bley welcomes it, darkly and stoically, with music that floats alone, making listeners wait for every tense, unresolved, beautiful chord. J.P. The best-selling solo piano album of all time, the Köln Concert, was recorded live, on an unresonant baby grand that had been rolled on stage in error. But Keith Jarrett adapts, espousing a personal brand of barrelhouse folk-pop pianism that pulls together the warmth of Appalachian music, the insistence of rock and the stubborn intellectualism of free improvisation. Gr. Pat Metheny's astonishingly self-assured debut helped forge a template for modern jazz guitar. His unorthodox, open chord gestures seem to melt into each other, while his lucid melodic runs are imbued with warmth by the young bassist Jaco Pastorius. The free-flowing pair sometimes seems to move as one 10-string instrument, especially on Unquitty Road, which breathes with the hushed serenity of a Missouri summer night. Andrew Archow. Something repeats and something else changes throughout this pinnacle of 1970s minimalism. Steve Reich applied the precision of chamber music and a fascination with the beauty and perceptual effects of phase patterns to the plinking, percussive music from Ghana and Bali that he had studied.